Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I trust that you're doing quite okay. Many thanks for joining us in these candid conversations. Well, of course, we are doing quite okay here with Professor Herman Manyora, having a cup of his own tea, so to say.
Yes, my own tea, not the one of Citizen TV.
Not the one of Citizen TV. But of course, I've seen you recently. You're back to
the screens.
TV on the screens.
Yeah, I'm back on TV. Yes.
Articulating issues.
Yes, because the country, I always want to be there when the country needs guidance. Today, our country requires guidance. Yeah.
Speaking wisdom, and of course telling them the truth as it should be taught.
As it should be taught.
They say you don't fear anybody.
No, why would I fear anybody? I'm never disrespectful in my discourse. I never insult anybody, but I speak the truth.
You speak the truth.
Yes.
And you engage meaningfully and maturely.
Yes, because I love my country. Yes.
That is Professor Herman Manyora. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Prof, a number of things took place this week and people are like, really, what's out happening?
Yes.
One, let me begin with this. We saw a delegation of at least 9 members from the ODM party who went to visit the president at State House, or rather in State House for that matter.
Yes.
And they came out saying they went there purposely for development, to negotiate with the president, to see how these projects which were actually promised to them are going to be implemented. You saw the kind of uproar this visit caused, and especially with the likes of Jalango, of course, the member of parliament for Langata constituency, being tossed here and there, and of course being told by Kenyans, no, you are not actually right in doing such kind of stuff. Prof, what do you read from this? Are we seeing some sort of a rebellion or a succession politics playing in ODM party?
It can't be rebellion, because rebellion must have some substance. It can't be succession, because succession must have figures. Those riffraffs, none of them can offer Luo leadership.
Sure.
Those are just small boys, and they are nothing really in Luo politics.
If that is the
None of which really can, even when they are talking, Raila can't even listen.
If that is the case, then why did it cause a lot of mayhem and chaos?
No,
and
when people are just saying this was a bad move. That's all. People are not saying anything. People are not threatened by the likes of those fellows there. No. There can be things can come from some quarters which even Raila cannot ignore. Yeah, and we know the names. Let's not mention them. If Orengo and Nyang Nyong and a few other people ganged up together and say Raila, enough is enough, that even Raila will listen. But now these people, none of them is anything.
So you're trying to say the move by these MPs was inconsequential?
First of all, none of them can even be elected again. None. People have tried to say I'm my own man, Raila. Let's put it to the test in the next election. None of them will be elected. None, of course.
Somebody of...
Look at even somebody like the man who wanted to beat Orengo. He's a man of substance. He could make a very good governor. But he's operating from a wrong platform. The platform of opposing Raila.
That is Engineer Nicholas Gumbo.
Yes. If it was just neutral, Gumbo against my friend Orengo, the result could have been different. Yeah. But now you are opposing Raila, then you want Luos to vote for you. It's not very easy. It's not very easy. It's not easy. Where is Kidero? It's not easy. And even at the time of running for election, Kidero wasn't quite out the way he is against Raila.
Yeah, by the way,
if there's a by-election today, let Kidero get 50,000 votes. I wish I had money, I would give him something. 50,000 if he gets against Gladys Wanga. Yeah. If there's a by-election, he can't get.
Let me perhaps ask, what do you think was happening with actually some of these members of parliament? Because we are wondering, actually, you cannot be, on the other hand, just the other day they were there attending the Azimio rally that was held actually. And they were there talking. Of course, they were given that chance to speak. And then all of a sudden, you also see these people in the State House. What do you think is really happening with them? Is it that they do not understand the party politics that is actually playing in this country? Or what is wrong? Because you don't expect somebody to be here at one time saying that they do not actually recognize the president as the legitimate president of the country. And then again, they go ahead and say, we are ready to work with the government.
Kenyan politics has opened its doors to the worst among us. People with no stand. People who stand for nothing. People who may be in parliament merely because they have some little money, either wash or have conned the government in this and the other way, have made some money. So and they have the courage to face people and say they want to be leaders. But they stand for nothing. A person like that, the wind need not be very strong. He will just be swept by the wind. People like those are many in our Kenyan politics. People who stand for nothing. Forget about values, even just standing for something. People who any little money tossed their way.
So therefore, are you trying to suggest?
I was with a Kenyan member of parliament in 2013. Tunakula kuku at the hood. Then we were joined by another member of parliament. They were from a small party. Lobbying for speaker was going on. There was Marende and there was, I think, Muturi. And the MPs were being taken, I think, to Naivasha. Now, these two MPs were being offered, and I want to tell you for a fact, 300,000 shillings each. Because they had become a bit, 300,000 shillings. And a promise to have a few of their people employed in government when Uhuru formed the government in 2013. One of the MPs told them off. He told them, I cannot be as cheap as 300,000 shillings. And I'm not asking you to make it more. And he left, he walked out of the place. We remained with this guy. When this guy said, even me, I've accepted the 300, but I want them to take 5 names from me now, as a condition. And your name will be one of those. So the guys went. A few days later, he called me, he was in Naivasha. He had the audacity to call me. So, so you finally went? Yes. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So what did they give you finally? How many people? What job am I getting? Just. I told him, my friend, you have been looking for this thing for 20 years. And now you have become an MP after 20 years. After 5 or so trials. Does it mean all that time you stood for nothing? There's nothing you stand for. And I've stood for all this time you have been wanting to be a member of parliament. That is the majority of our MPs. They are just there. They stand for nothing. A good number of them know nothing. So they cannot even make contribution to national discourse, to national development, to the future of this country. They are not people who should make an MP, but they are there. So are you surprised if today they are with Raila and tomorrow they go to State House? Because they stand for nothing.
So basically, these
They are
people
just useless fellows.
But anyway, you people do say that politics is about interest and self-interest to be
Your
specific.
interests are not served in that manner. I was giving a speech recently to the MPs of Azimio, and I told them, if my history serves me right, the people who defected from 1990, the defection started after Moi won the first multi-party election after those other years. But he didn't have a comfortable majority in parliament. He set out to woo politicians from DP and Ford Yasili and Ford Kenya. Ford Kenya was a bit difficult. It was the party of people of ideals. The Orengos, the Raila Odinga, the Manyora had lost actually. And a few other people were there. Kiraitu Murungis in DP. So the main target was Ford Yasili, where mostly were lawyers. So I told these MPs, look at those MPs who defected. First of all of them are dead now. Not that everybody will die, we shall all die. But they died poor people. So even the money that you go for is always so little. But the guys giving you the money are so clever. They see you from, they say 18, the way you are coming with your small problems. So they toss $1 million or something your way. Then you think now, sasa hii itakuwa hivyo tu. Next time you meet them, they give you 500. Next time, 300. Now every time you rush there, next time they disconnect the phone. Next time the door is locked. Because you are already inside. Once you have defected, especially if you are a high profile politician or public figure, once you are on the side of Ruto, for example, that is a bird that is already in the cage. He will go and look for other birds. You are no longer, and you not have the face to go the other side. So he knows you are safely there. He has immobilized you. So, where are your interests? In fact, an intelligent MP can cooperate with the Ruto government and Ruto himself without making a fool of himself. And he can get a lot more. People respect, let me tell you this, people respect men of stand, people who have a stand. That's why sometimes after an election, you see guys getting very annoyed, saying we were suffering, we were fighting these people, then why are you favoring this guy? Human nature is such that people respect tough people. That's human nature. If you are a weakling, quisling, somebody just throws a few coins and you come, the guy receives you, but he's with such a distaste. If you knew what was going inside him, you run away. He would respect your colleague who is remaining behind than you who has come. Akitupa mahindi kidogo nakuja kama kuku. He will respect the other guy remaining there. So if you remain there and they choose not to be sycophantic to Raila, you are not what they call ODM cows. You are a tough human being in that side. You support Azimio. You are in Azimio, but you are working with the president. Both sides will respect you.
Definitely. Now my question is this. Elections are gone. We are here as a nation. Our economy is bad and it's ailing. The MPs said that the ODM party chair, of course, the ODM party leader Raila Odinga told them that if at all the engagement with the president is purely on development, then they should go. And actually, that is the same reason that they gave. Do you believe that these people actually went to State House for development purposes, as they claimed?
First of all, it is logically wrong. It is not true that you can go for development because there's none. The president has no development to give. Where does he get it from? The president doesn't have development to give. Development is a long process.
Jalango said there is a housing project.
Where Parliament takes the greatest share.
What do you make of the housing projects that are supposed to be launched? Okay, the ones that were launched in Langata the other day. And Jalango said that he went to follow up that.
But what is this? These things have been there. You think the president just came and put those things in motion? And sometimes, how gullible people can be. And sometimes I'm amazed. The president cannot take office yesterday and go through the process of building those houses, then to go and launch them because they're already built. Launching a program means the process of land acquisition, of many things taking place, of approvals. Those things have already been done. It's not Ruto doing them. Ruto will also start his. Somebody else will come and do them. So if you are an MP and you can't know that, you are calling it following up. What are you following up? And these are supposed to be public, private initiatives. An MP should even be telling government this so-called housing projects is rubbish. If you're an MP. But again, look at the quality of people we elect. We elect people who are not supposed to even be MCS. Make them members of parliament.
Do you then think
the sophistication required of an MP? If you close your eyes and you go beyond Sifuna and 2, 3, 4 others, you don't see anybody. These are village boys and girls. They are not supposed to be in parliament. Because like I've said many times, and I was saying in a show with Jad, these are the people who determine what kind of Kenya we shall have 100 years. But then these are village boys and girls.
So they don't seem to realize that?
You must know if you talk of housing, this is rubbish. The like thing Kibaki and Raila put up Ngambo. I asked, hata mzungu moja aliniambia, alikuwa anafanya research. Anambia nyi wa Africa, please forgive me. I'm only talking to you because I have followed you and I know you are a man who is upright, forthright, and you say the truth. So you'll not feel bad. But what's wrong with you Africans? At that time, somebody was saying they needed 400 or 700 million to do feasibility studies on how to do slum upgrading in Kibera. I remember Musila when he was in parliament and he said, give me that money and I will flood the whole of Ukambani with water. You want to use it for feasibility studies. But the more laughable thing, at that time Kibera was famed to be the largest slum in Africa. We have seen the land, maybe not so. The numbers we were being given were outrageous. That Kibra was home to I don't know how many people. But even if the numbers were to be like 100,000 or 200,000 families, or even 50,000, then you put up 1,000 units, like Kibaki and Raila did. At that rate, how many years do you think you need to settle those people, even if they don't get children? To say ni wao tu. Let us say those adults in Kibra, usiongea mambo ya watoto yao, wao tu. You'll need, this is stupid. You cannot solve Kibera problem by putting up 1,000 housing units. You need a big idea, you need big thinking. You need how you can come up with 250,000 housing units. In Nairobi, in one place, not this 800, 1,000. So if you say you are following in that, it just shows the village politician you are. So Kenya requires men and women who can think. Because you cannot solve the housing problem in this town by sprinkling 2,000 units, 800 units. You can't. Because by the time that process, that program is over, of 1,000 units, more than 1,000 children have been born in Kibera. And their parents are 100,000. Na unajenga nyumba 800. And people are, that kind of thinking, this country will sink. Nataka Jalangu aseme, we appreciate what the president is doing. But when I stand in Langata where I'm MP from the prisons, I can see a stretch from the cemetery, St. Mary's Hospital, across the southern bypass where people have grabbed. You remember that gazettement of Lotodo, those houses on southern bypass come from Langata. I can see that forest goes up to Lolua forest. I can see only outside on the road there are trees. Inside people have poached the trees. Standing from Kibra, your eyes all the way to the prisons, then all the way to Lolua forest. These are hundreds, if not thousands of acres. Why can't the government excise that land, degazette it? Because there's no forest, the water may is of it. We settle, we put there, we make it possible for us to construct 300,000 houses through public, private. What the government does is to provide the infrastructure and provide free land, so long as you follow the development plan. You don't come out and put your own things. This, you call them MPs. So they are doing
with all the
cheap
with all due respect, Prof, if you say that this was a political move, and you're saying that it was not a very good one, it was a stupid one, for that matter.
Using my word.
Yes, using your word. But now, you know, I had a lot of difficulty imagining how Professor Tom Ojenda managed to be among these people. I was actually wondering what is happening with us, because there are certain people of certain caliber that you may think that these people are actually supposed to be guiding others and telling them this is the right
just like you, Tom Ojenda. But again, you see, a few days later, an issue of a case coming up about certain monies he owed and whether he should be sued or not, and the High Court has said he should not be disturbed, EACC should not follow him. But almost at the same time he was defecting, so to speak, the issue was coming from the appeal court that EACC should actually right to pursue him. Now, being a senior officer of the court, perhaps he already knew that judgment was coming. I'm not saying I know, but I'm just reading it. Here you are, a man, like you are being surprised, like all of us were surprised. You see, you are also getting surprised why was Ojenda there. And many people, including me. How? We could understand when these small earthlings, people of dubious abilities and qualification, but when someone like Tom Ojenda goes there, everybody's like how? So then you could ask yourself, oh, could it be this? So there are those, like our governors now. You see, have you seen any of them in Azimio rallies?
No.
These governors either have question marks about how they have been handling county resources, those who are governors, who have been before, or those who are now governors, they want to follow in the footsteps of their predecessors to squander county money. So they know if they are seen with Raila in those rallies, there will be spotlight on the expenditure of county funds. And I want to tell them, people know why governors may not be in this thing. It's because they want to go on a looting spree.
Or they've already gone.
Or they've already done it. So they know they are playing it safe. So there will be those people who will go to State House, not because they need money, not because they are weak in mind in terms of the ability to see things, but because they need protection. Protection. Either from atrocities of the past or intended theft. Yeah.
So does that explain all these kind of defections that we are seeing left, right, and center?
Defections are explained by many. First of all, they are weak people, and they fall down. There are men like those, so weak. Even their wives regret marrying them. They are so weak. You talk to women, they say, some of these guys, this is not a man. I don't know how I married this man. He has no stand on anything. So there are people who are just summoned by a smart politician. We are going to State House. And, oh, hey, but this is bad. What do Raila say? Watch away. Then before you can make up 200,000. Kwisha. Another corner to play a girlfriend in Mombasa. Kwisha is finished. That's why you find women are sometimes stronger than men when it comes to some of these things. Because the reason for which men look for little money may be very useless, like taking a girl to Mombasa.
And of course, if you look at even some of the members of parliament, or rather anybody, leader here allied to the Jubilee Party, the likes of Kanini Kega, Sabina Chege, they were very vocal during the campaign period. And you thought that these are people who actually do have a stand. And when push now comes to shove, then they will not actually defect, or rather portray themselves as cheap as they're portraying right now. And of course, perhaps people actually doubted Jeremiah Kioni, but here he is still going forward and saying, well, I'll not actually kind of
running strong.
Running strong still. But Prof, finally, as we conclude this kind of conversation, this tactic by the president to avoid engaging Raila Odinga one-on-one and use this kind of divide and rule method to handle this situation that we are seeing in the country, are you seeing it going to yield anything?
It will not work. The more you isolate Raila, the more dangerous it becomes. I've said it repeatedly.
So it may not work.
Because now, Raila just remains with the people. And now you can see as the people. So these MPs who are irritants, as I call them, these are just irritants. When there's a revolution, it looks for irritants. And let me tell you something else. When the issue of whether Kanini Kega would remain in Yala or not, because it is clear that it's sponsored there by Azimio, when the issue of whether Sabina Chege will remain a nominated MP or not, when the issue of these defecting MPs, especially Jubilee, would remain MPs or lose their seat, when this issue is taken to the court, I want to point out to them, because I love them, all of them, you may not know where the country will be. Azimio could have generated such a hit in the country that the judiciary may wish to be on the side of the people. And they will make a ruling that will shock all these guys as they lose their parliamentary seats. And I'm telling you, this push by Raila could put certain institutions like the judiciary under threat. They will be under the watch of the people. They could realize their existence will be determined with whether or not they will be seen to be doing the right thing for the people of this country. And at that time, they may wish to show how independent they are. And they say, Sabina Chege, home. Kanini Kega, toka Arusha kuja nyumbani. Anza kupanda waru huko Kieni. Not every part of Kieni is dry.
Now, finally, Prof, with all these things taking place in ODM and Azimio and so on and so forth, people are saying that perhaps ODM could be actually a rolling stone, actually, some sort of a dying horse right now. People could say, well and good, with the way these people are behaving. It's like we are seeing the last of the Orange Democratic Movement.
How can you say ODM and by extension Raila is a dying stone, a rolling stone, they are finished, when they have such a traction in the country? Why don't you just go by what is practical, pragmatic, and the reality on the ground? So mnasamanga kwa ground.
With the likes of John Mbadi already saying that they are ready to opt out.
But what is John Mbadi? John Mbadi is a nimboga gani kwa ODM. That's a small person who was given a seat that was way beyond his weight. And I said it. I did a video, open letter to Raila. I told him, by putting such a small people like Mbadi in charge of a big party like this, you are making a mistake. And now they can see. So I was right. I even reorganized for them, and I can still reorganize for them. But ODM is not a party you can wish away. ODM represents the progressive side of this country. The people who are fighting for change. It's not Raila. It's a movement. It's not very easy to kill a movement. A political party can die. ODM is not just a political party. It represents the side of this country that you can say stands for what is good, for change, and for democracy, human rights, good governance, proper elections. That is a movement. That cannot be wished away, even if Raila is not there. You could even say you are killing ODM as a party. But the idea that there is a side in this country that is fighting the status quo, that you can't do. You can't wish. That can't die.
Do you think there is something wrong and Raila should actually call his house to order?
But he has done so already. He has told them, kwenda kabisa. Because Anyang Nyong put up a tweet and quoted Vladimir Lenin, who said at the time of a revolution, there will be such a useless people, so many of them quitting. But he said famously, better fewer, but better. Better fewer, but better.
Not better.
Yeah, there are fewer, but there are than many who are just there.
So they're ready to move.
Revolutions have never been actualized by battalions of people. No.
Definitely, there you have it from Professor Herman Manyora. Ladies and gentlemen, remember we are still keeping tabs on what is taking place in this country with regards to everything political and current affairs, and we'll be here to keep you updated with very critical analysis of everything taking place here. Well, we do hope that our leaders are watching, and of course even those who are allied to the AZMIO, rather the ODM movement, are also watching so that they can actually know some of their next moves. Definitely, Prof here is saying that politics is a game, but then you have to be very tactful whenever dealing with such. Any wrong move that you're gonna make is actually going to cost you. Till we have this conversation again, have yourself a very lovely day. My name is Evans Okinyi.